All right. Share my screen here. Okay, did you post your bot in the bot links already?
No, I don't think so. I didn't realize I have to. My bad.
Which server are you playing on then? We can look
I'm
at the
playing
replay.
on Ian
UNE?
on yeah Europe Northeast. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit lost in space. It's been a long week,
No, it's fine. It's
and
alright.
I've been grinding a bit as well. So you
Yep.
know.
Yep. I mean, I prefer the POV bots because map awareness and stuff like that is really important for junglers. So if you want to like
Yeah.
kind of auto-record your games, this is what I use myself. It's called Outplayed, and it automatically captures your games. It usually has like spots here you can look at like when you kill someone like this,
Yeah.
and then
No,
you
I
can
get
like
you. Yeah.
look at your
Yeah, I
reviews and stuff.
used it before, but now I just my laptop doesn't agree with me
Okay,
using
okay,
a lot of stuff anymore. So
okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you
I
can't
have to
record,
keep
then
it
it's yeah,
simple. Yeah.
then it's whatever. Uh, okay. So what's your name?
Just Andre. Or are you looking for like my league
OBGG.
name?
Yeah, yeah, OBGG.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, fair. Let me send the link to it just
All
to
right.
make it easier. I'm almost there anyway.
Can log into any UNE account.
Or I can share my screen actually because I have Mobilytics and Professor open as well. If those help.
Uh, I can look at it myself. It's fine. You can just link me the OBGG and we'll go
Hmm.
on from there.
I got you.
I remember one of my UNE accounts names.
Yeah, I just changed my name as well, fortunately. So there you go.
All right. Good. Gold 4. Okay. So what's your goal for the season? Where do you want to land? Plat?
Platinum.
Okay.
I've
Yep.
been I've been trying to hit platinum for like 4 seasons now, I think. I've been playing for from season 3, but I was mostly not playing, if it makes sense. Like I would just do 100 games per season,
Hmm.
and then I would get to gold or something, and then I
Yep.
just give up
Give up.
because I
Yep.
had stuff to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's really common what people do. They get gold for the skin and then they kind of stop playing. But yeah,
Yeah,
if you want to keep improving and kind of like you have to form some kind of a process to approach the league. For example, you can do stuff like only play like 2 games a day, for example, or something like that.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah,
you can
that's
kind
what
of
I
like
tried.
yeah, so then you can kind of like keep it consistent and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So if you really care about improvement, obviously that's really important as well there.
Yeah, the one I tried previously, because this wouldn't be my first coach either. I tried 5 games a day, but I think it was a bit too much.
Yeah, that's
And
the other thing.
also
Yeah,
there
if
were
you, yeah, it
yeah,
can be a bit too much for some people. So yeah, usually you could do like 2, 3 games, for example. Or, I mean, it doesn't have to be like every day, but you kind of like want to have some kind of consistency in your
yeah,
process there when playing the game.
yeah, I
Because
get you.
this is one of
Yeah,
the games where you have to like keep constantly playing because it changes all the time and stuff like that. So it's really easy to kind of
yeah,
like fall out of touch.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, I dealt good enough even with those 5 games, but I just got stuck for like a
Yep.
good while, which sucked.
So we have 3 games here available on this patch.
Hmm.
So Nunu or maokai, which one do you want to look at?
Um, yeah, I'm not sure. Um, the Maokai ones were pretty unwinnable in my
Mhm.
opinion, and then the Nono went very smoothly, so I'm
Okay, so we
really
can look at
not
the
sure.
Maokai game then. So we can kind of like
Hmm.
spot those
Yeah,
things which made it
yeah,
made
fair.
it a bit less hard. See
Yeah,
what's going on here. Yeah, I see. Yeah, you had a pretty hard carry in the mid lane there, and we obviously played well yourself as well. A lot of
yeah.
KP here.
Oh yeah, we're pre-made me in the mid lane,
Oh, okay.
or yeah, mostly the mid lane. I think.
Yep, you play with the duo. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
another thing you can kind of consider if you want to keep improving. It's almost better to play without the duo, because it's really hard to find a duo, for example, who improves at the same rate as you, and then you kind of like get biased in your decisions and stuff like that. So that's something to consider. I'm gonna open the bot here, then
fair.
we're gonna talk a bit about the champion and whatnot. So
Yeah, so last season I really tried hard to main Diana.
Mhm,
Even when I had like a rough patch, I had like 40% win rate on her at some point.
mhm.
But somehow I can't just deal with her anymore, and I just don't know how and why. So now I'm just playing Maokai because he's meta, and Nunu because I know I can carry with the other guy. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing I wanted to talk about when playing with duo. You kind of like sometimes you want to like always play for your duo, and then it's like if when you play without the duo, then you're kind of lost. Like, okay, what do I do now actually? Because I don't have like a one member I can
yeah,
really
no, I
trust
get
and
you. Yeah, yeah,
stuff like that. So yeah,
yeah. No,
um,
you're right.
so yeah, you've
That's the
been
only reason I feel very comfortable playing with tanks mostly,
yeah,
especially when I do,
yeah,
because
because
otherwise I know I can't carry with them
yeah,
just because they
exactly,
don't
yeah,
output enough damage.
but yeah, you're playing tank Diana. Okay, so the one thing I like about the champ pool here, so we are basically you're basically playing Maokai, tank Diana, and Nunu. So what these three champions have kind of in common, and which makes it easier for you to kind of like shift between them, is that they are champion identity is kind of similar. So you want
Yeah,
to play for six, really important ult, really important
yeah,
ult. You want to facilitate your teammates, it's CC
mhm,
setup and stuff like that. So yeah, so basically if you think about like changing up your champion pool, you usually want to like pick champions from the same identity because it makes the transition easier to a new champion.
yeah,
So for example, something you try in this stuff, for example, is like Sack amumu, sejuani, stuff like
mhm,
that.
yeah,
Uh, because if you go to something like Kha'Zix, which is an entirely different identity, it's like an
yeah,
assassin identity.
yeah,
Then it's like you have to like kind of relearn the game. So
yeah.
but yeah, I really like you're keeping the champion pool pretty tight, so I would always recommend 3 to 5 champions. But also, especially at this point of your journey, if you really want to like, for example, hit plat or hit diamond later on into the game or later on into the journey, something you could consider is kind of like add champions outside of your original champion identity.
Would Lilia have a similar identity? Because I'm playing
Mm,
her as well lately. Well, not as
kind
much because I
kind of
found my
similar,
duo,
yeah.
but
But like,
yeah,
yeah, she wants to play for six. She wants to play for teamfight, really good ult, stuff like that. So
yeah,
yeah, she's kind of similar, but she's more on the carry side, of course,
yeah.
compared to something like
That's what I
Maokai
want.
and
Yeah,
Nunu. Yeah, so
yeah.
she's kind of like in between of a carry champ and a
She has
enabler
more carry
champion.
potential. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
So I'm not far off from
Yep,
guessing it. It's
yep,
good.
yeah. But like for example, what I was saying, if you want to like so you should consider adding a champion outside of your champion identity. So for example, if your team drafts like tank top and tank support, you probably don't want to play nunu or stuff like that. So then you could
Yeah,
kind of like switch it up and kind of like fit for the comp. But yep, I like
yeah,
it. three to
yeah.
five
I
champion
tried
pool.
to. Yeah,
3 to 5
yeah. I tried to do that.
champions
Yeah,
champion pool.
I always keep in mind my composition and then theirs.
Yep.
So sometimes I can counter it or
Yep.
complement mine.
Yep. I mean, it's not as important as, for example, playing with the champion you're comfortable with. So
Oh
then
yeah.
we
No,
kind
I
of
know
wrap.
I don't go
Yeah.
out of the zone, but
Yeah. Yeah.
as you've seen from my profile, I have like a lot of I've mastered to a degree a couple of the
Yeah.
champs. It's
Yep.
just
So
that
yep, stick to them. Yep. Awesome. Uh, yeah, that's not. Yeah, you're actually playing volleyball here and amumu. Yeah, it's just kind of like in the same identity. You want to gank, you want to facilitate the teammates, stuff like that.
yeah,
So really good.
it's
Yeah,
not
kind of.
as easy though.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah. I mean, obviously, every time you switch a new champion, it's kind of like it's always you have to still learn the champion, even if you don't have to learn the general play style.
Mhm.
But yeah, I like the champ pool. So, what do you think your strengths and weaknesses are at the moment?
My weakness is definitely fighting.
Hmm.
Um, and my strength is, I don't know, I would say map control and objectives. But one very big weakness in that objectives thing is that I don't do well with smite fights.
Okay.
Maybe these pop in my mind at least.
Yep. So we look at the smite situation, for example, later on in the game. Uh,
Yeah, I'm really not sure how to improve on that either.
yeah. Yep, we'll talk about that. Okay, so let's get into the game. What do you think about the matchup so far? What do you think you want to bat? Well, what do you want to avoid? Whatever.
Um, I wanted to bat towards bot, which I did. Um, In terms of avoiding, I didn't really want to avoid, well, Nocturne, basically, because he would shred me. But other than that, I wouldn't really think about avoiding anything at this point in game.
Yep. So some things to consider here, which you can take into account as you move forward. So, for example, top lane matchup. What we have there, two melee champions.
Yeah,
Garen actually has ignite here as well. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna trade a lot. They're gonna trade a lot from laning phase because they
they
kind
did.
kind of want to harass each other and kind of like
Yeah,
hit each other between the minions because they are really close to each other. So
yeah.
that's something you can consider. So they will usually be lower in health. Obviously, the lower the health the enemies are, the easier it is for you to gank. So that's something you can also consider. Mid lane matchup. We have two assassins with ignite, so kind of the same thing as with the top line. We have two melee champions who really want to fight. They really want to go for those 1v1s and stuff like that. So again, really volatile matchup. Double ignite, a lot of kill pressure. And again, they will usually be lower in health.
Hmm.
Obviously, when you play with a duo, he kind of like advises you, okay, now we can do something or stuff like that. But again, like when you're playing without the duo, you want to look out for these things.
Yeah.
So, yep. So the biggest thing here is that uh, when they are playing melee, they usually kind of get low, so you can look for stuff like that. For example, in the spotlight matchup, on the other hand, it's kind of a relaxed matchup. Spotlight matchup because you don't have a lot of kill pressure here. Obviously, there's two champions, so there's way more damage. But when we look at this, like Civi with spell shield and cleanse, it's like really hard for you to gank, because she can cleanse your W and then she can run away before you get to insect with Q. She can cleanse her spell shield. Clock's initiation. So that's something you can consider as well. When there's two range, like let's say in bot lane there's four range characters. So what they usually do is like a lot of the time it's actually harder to gank because they don't get as slow because they can kind of safely free hit minions. Obviously, you still want to look out for the bot lane, and in general, bot lane is the play, especially now since especially when you're playing these gank junglers because it's easy to gank, but when we look at this, it's CV Yumi, it's like really hard for you to gank. CV Yumi with spell shield, your main. So this is something you can also use when mid lane matchup is, for example, let's say Suntra and Rice. They're pretty safe in the lane because they just get the free hit minions without the other person being able to harass them as much. Healthy. So we have spell shield and cleanse. Really hard to gank um, even with CC setup. For example, the Lux Q here. So yeah, mostly this game I would be looking towards looking,
Topside.
yeah, top side. But again, like what you can do is what I would do in this game, for example, is I would start top side. I would clear my camps, and if there's nothing going on top side, then I can freely go towards bot side and kind of like rely on if something happens here and if I have a gank opening on bot side. Because again, bot side double the gold, double the damage. So yeah, that's something to consider
Yeah.
as well. Yep. And yeah, when you're playing these tank junglers, these ganker junglers, yeah, you obviously don't want to 1v1 the enemy jungler most of the
Yeah.
time, especially when they're playing something like Nocturne. So yeah, just don't look for the 1v1s. You can invade with Prio or stuff like that, but yeah, not too
Yeah,
much to
no,
worry
I
about that.
mostly, if possible, I try to to ward either red or raptors,
Mhm.
next to raptors, to have vision to see where they go or where they started. I know I can track it easier as well from the lanes, but
Yep.
I got used to doing this, and usually I get away with it.
So is this something you do a lot when you're playing Maokai? You kind
I
of like
do it on
invade
all
to
my
ward?
champs because I have the vision from maokai. Can do it with Diana as well. Can do it with Lilia.
Yep, you can kind of check
Yeah,
check stuff like that. But yeah, so if you want to get the early ward down, what I would advise you to do is just like try to get in the top side instead because when you have face checking like this, there's way more people potentially here than when you go face check top side, for example.
yeah. I used to do that top side, but it felt more dangerous because I had that bush, which I never checked. The one that's next to the pixel brush. Yeah,
This
that
one.
one. Yeah.
But
So
if you want to ward, you usually so you walk here at the start of the game, throw a sapling here, then you kind of like you can wait around, throw a sapling here if you are really afraid, and then you can just pop the ward over, pop
Oh
the
yeah,
ward
I can
here.
also do that. What I was doing, I was going into the pixel, and then I was going next to the stone, and then
Oh, here,
word
yeah, yeah.
over it. Yeah, that's why.
Okay. Yep. Also another thing, the E start on Maokai, it's good if you want to do that, for example, because you can check brush and you can kind of like anti-invade with it. But in general, the Q start is a lot faster now since last
I
season.
think so. I
Yep.
thought it stacks on Maokai, and that's why I kind of do it.
Yeah, but even if it stacks like we are here at 15 seconds late, kind of, so we even missed that one E here on the brush because they stay for 30 seconds. There's a 10-second cooldown. So ideally, you would be throwing this first sapling at 1 minute exactly
Yeah,
if you want to start at the buff.
I usually move a bit faster, but yeah, this well, it's on and off. I either get here at 1 minute or at
Yeah.
1:15. So yeah.
Consider top lane ward instead
Okay.
safer because there's a chance of you meeting less. I don't know, but there's a higher chance of you meeting more people when you start bot set, for example.
Mhm.
Safer ward, less chance of running into a lot of people. Because again, if they have something like CC, for example, if you do this every game and they have like a Scion or Nautilus kind of waiting here, and then you go try to take this board, you're dead, or you have to at least
Yep.
blow flash. So
Yep.
that's something to think about. Kind of letting the uh, kind of letting the Riven tank a lot of hits there. Uh, yep, normal clear. Okay, so here's already an important thing. So if you watch, for example, high level gameplay, what they do all the time is they kind of like click the wave, click the waves, click the waves. You don't need to do that necessarily. But what you want to do is you always want to have eyes on the minimap. So for example,
Yep.
here we see that these guys are kind of cheesing here. And what happens then? We are kind of all the way here, but we can see these guys are getting like really close to each other, really close to each other. So that's something when you can use like, okay, these guys are really close. They're probably trading a lot. They're probably blowing summoners and stuff like that. So obviously you want to gather that information, but you don't need to always look at stuff. But like look out for at least when they go
Okay.
really close to each other.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that more nowadays.
Yeah, so
I
that's
I know what you mean.
yeah, and always keep an eye out on the minimap. So this kind of comes down to the champion mastery as well. So when you play a lot of, for example, Maokai, it's kind of it gets really easy for you to clear your jungle. So then you kind of like have this freedom. Okay, I can actually just look at the minimap here, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
If people are fighting, getting
Yeah.
getting close to each other,
Basically,
that's when you
what I
want to like.
kind of want to take out of this is kind of like my biggest weakness. Kind of improve on that one.
Yep. Okay, but
Like
that's
the
like
one that
yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, map awareness. But yep, that's obviously something pretty easy to work on. So it's like, and also another thing I recommend you to do, you can see my minimap is kind of fucking huge. What I run is 96 minimap scale. So it makes it really easy for me to kind of like see these small things happening, even if I'm not actually looking, because
Hmm.
because the minimap is this large, so it makes it really easy for me to kind of
Yeah.
like see if like pieces are moving. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously I would recommend you to turn up your minimap if you already don't. I know it looks a bit funky first having this massive minimap, but it really helps, especially if you are struggling with map awareness. But yeah.
No, I'm pretty decent in terms of map awareness, I think.
Okay.
I don't respond to a lot of the stuff, but
So
yeah.
again, we could have seen we saw this top lane getting really heavy there. So yeah. Also another thing you want to do, kind of like always implement this gameplay. Obviously, this game kind of like whatever because your Reaven actually died here level 1, but when you do these 3 camps and you're kind of like thinking towards pathing to the bot side, always check the lane you're leaving from. For example, if this guy was really low and then you go to wolves and then you notice that okay, this guy's actually really fucking low, I could have ganked that. So it's kind of like it sucks that you're already on this way of the jungle because then it's like if you want to go, it's like such a long journey. So
Yeah.
always before leaving the side of first side of your jungle, leaving the first side of your jungle, check the lane you're leaving from in case there's a gank. So yeah, obviously a really common strategy, as there's a bot here, but a really common strategy a lot of champions, especially these tank junglers love to do is go for the tree camp. You know, you can do these 3 camps.
Mm.
Oh, there's something going on. Maybe I can do. Look, and again, another thing.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What are we saying?
No, like check if I can do mid lane and then just rotate over sort of.
Yep. So yeah, obviously when you do these long rotations from one side of the jungle to the other side, you want to kind of check all the lanes. So for example, if you have immediate action, for example here, you can kind of, okay, I want to go there, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, another thing I was paying attention to was not being invaded. That's why I skipped wolves, and I also want to skip wolves in general because I think it just takes too much time to do a full clear, and it's better to just be on the map with maokai.
Yep, I mean that kind of depends. Like you have to assess the map there, so you have to
Wait,
think about, okay, do I actually need to be somewhere? Oh, when you go for these sorts of like skip camps, oh, I just want to get my five
no, I
caps
was
cap
afraid of
happening.
an invade as well. That's why.
Yeah, okay. But with Maokai, what you can do is you can kind of like, it's really hard to invade Maokai because what you can do is you can like sapling over here, and then you can walk over to the blue side, and then you can sapling over here. Like it's really like it's impossible for the Nocturne to enter your jungle without you noticing. So that's another thing you can utilize, especially when playing Maokai. Like it's really hard to invade Maokai. You're afraid of
I
invade.
thought he was waiting for me there because he had the ward early in there, and I
Hmm.
think, oh no, that was another game. My bad. In the
No,
previous game,
he did have a ward here in the Raptor pit.
they
If that's
warded they warded that brush, and Jin was just sitting on it, and that's
okay,
it.
okay, okay.
So that's why I'm thinking about that one.
The
But yeah,
saplings on pressures and jungle interest. Also, another thing really important to note: when you finish your tree camp, this is specifically for early game. Even if you're playing against champions like Katus, when you finish your three camps, the enemy jungler has finished their three camps. So, for example,
yeah.
if you want to look at mid, what I love to do is I never go for this gank here, like straight off the Raptors. I just go mid and like gank this because it makes it really easy for the enemy jungler who's actually just walking here as well. They see you, he's like, oh shit, and then he can like move 2 seconds and he's already ready to counter gank you. So if you, for example, want to look for the mid level 3 option, what I love to do is I cross over to the other side of the jungle and kind of gank from here because that means if the enemy jungler isn't ganking this, they will be already like they have committed to their camps. Like they have not such an easy time to rotate to the gank if they want to counter
Okay,
gank.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah,
That's
so
an
that's like
interesting thing.
really basic like early game jungle tracking.
Mhm.
Early game, you've done 3 camps, enemy has done 3 camps. So that's like basically the general rule. It's almost always true.
It's like a sneaky gank,
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. And so especially what you want to watch out for is this mid gank. Especially watch out for mid gank. Try to kind of waste a bit of time so you don't like immediately show because again they are already like moving here, transitioning from the Raptors to the blue side and stuff like that. Mm. And also that's another thing you can think of when you're afraid of these invades. It's kind of like if we because you're kind of like almost exactly matching this guy if you actually look. So yeah, he's like entering his wolves, you are entering your wolves, stuff like that. So that's also what you can kind of like utilize when you're afraid of these level 3 invades. Uh,
Hmm.
you can just straight up go here and throw your E. There's no way this guy's already like done with his camps in here unless they have like a really strong list like fucking Heimerdinger, Shake or whatever. But like usually the case is um, you clear 3 camps, enemy clear 3 camps. Basically, that's the general rule.
Yeah.
Um, right, it's about the level 3 mid gank. So to waste a bit of time to give enemy jungle time to commit to their camps. Makes it a lot harder for them to counter gank you. Yep. That's obviously something really important that a lot of people miss is they kind of like go for this gank and then they're like, oh, I could counter gank. Like it's so easy for the enemy jungler. They don't even need to read you at all. It's just like this just happened to be there. So obviously that's something you want to watch out for. And yep, regarding deciding this blue stat here. So yeah, what you want to look out for example, is you can look at this bot lane because you said you wanted to clear your 5 camps because 6 camps take so long, stuff like that. What you want to look out for actually is this even gankable for you? Do you think
No,
this is gankable for you?
no.
Yeah, I don't think so. This guy's full HP. Again, it's CV with spell shield. She did blow flash though in the early game, probably ping to you. So that's something you know. But they are like really next to their turret here. They're really safe. They're really safe. Your team is kind of like automatically pushing in the waves, kind of wanting to poke them out of the turret. So yeah, this is not really gankable. I would just hit my camps here because again, uh, what the Nocturne does is he started red side. So we have exact information on where he started thanks to the ward we placed level 1. Or if he plays it, for example, here, we know where he started from. So what that usually means, they start playing towards the opposite side.
Yeah.
So one thing to consider here, for example, where'd my time controls go? I'm not so good with this practice tool review. But yeah, another thing you can consider here is that again, 3 camps. They've done 3 camps. The only camps are up topside. So what they can actually look out for is they can kind of like gank this before you even get here. So for example, in this situation, if you were afraid of the enemy bot lane getting ganked here, because again, your bot lane is like in a really bad situation and the enemy bot lane is in a really safe situation. So I would just skip the blue here altogether and then move down. But
Yeah.
again, like general rule, just like hit your camps unless there's really something you kind of like want to do. And again, what we want to recognize here is that enemy jungler started opposite side. They're pathing towards the opposite scuttle. So that kind of like gives us kind of like a lot of time, you know, because usually what junglers do, they just want the full clear and then they go for the crap. So we are basically doing exactly the same, but we have no hurry to kind of like finish up these camps here, you know. So talking about that, enemy junglers at opposite side, they're pathing towards the opposite scuttle. Usually they'll be on scuttle on spawn. We have all the time to full clear here. Does it make sense to you? Any questions?
No, it does.
No. So for example, what I would do probably in this game is I would just take 2 points in my queue here uh, when I see that this bot lane is really gankable for me, because again they're like under the turret is really safe. They have clans, like it's really hard for you to gank it anyway. So I would just take 2 points in my queue, kind of like make my full clear faster here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it. So basically, always when we want to kind of think about like skipping camps and stuff like that, you always want to have like a reason to do it. You know, kind of like always have intent in your actions in jungle, dropping camps, whatever. So I don't think this crush sapling really works anymore on gromp. What I like to do is I just throw it on top of the gromp because
It
so
does,
basically,
but I didn't push it enough.
yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like this is small risks that we actually end up losing DPS anyway because it's just resets and stuff like that. So
No, there's a very fine line. It works.
okay,
I've done it a couple of times, but it's just that I messed it up this time.
yep. So now we are looking for the gank. Okay, let's see here. Z actually shows up. Let's see what
Mm-hmm.
we are looking at. So yep, we do have 5 camp. Scuttle is spawning. Kind of want to look for the scuttle. Yeah, I mean I wouldn't worry about this. Like we probably didn't. No, when did we even see this guy?
I don't.
Yeah, I missed this guy entirely, so I wouldn't be too worried about this happening because again, the most important thing here is that we should expect that the enemy jungler is on the opposite scuttle because again we patted opposite from each other at the start of the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't really worry about that. Again, this isn't gankable to you, and the set kind of like slips through vision here.
Yeah.
Yep, don't worry about. See that
I think
camps.
I'm killing Seth right now.
Okay.
Is it? Yeah.
So this is actually really good. I'm gonna.
Oh, I take his flash. He kills him though, and then
Yep.
invade.
Yep. So what's really important to notice here is that this is something you can use all the time. So when laners roam, unless they are unless they get like really low um, in the bot gank, what they always do is they walk back. They walk back, and if you're positioned like this, you could try to cut them off. So this is
Yeah.
kind of like we just happen to be here kind of thing, but like you can start to really like think about it. Okay, I just missed this gank or roam by set entirely, and then we like see him moving back up. So yeah, this is when you can like kind of set up a trap with your
Punish. Yeah.
Akali here, yeah, and punish it. Yeah, exactly. 350. Laner roams. Wants to walk back to lane to hit the minions. Because again, what laners always want to do is they always want to hit minions. Like it's just it's like a basic laner behavior. We probably get to talk about that a bit more when we get another gank off or something like that. But yep. So yep, this is really good.
Yeah. One thing that I really feel that I'm struggling with is win conditions,
Okay. Yep. I mean, it's kind of
especially for each champion. Because they don't excel at the same thing.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it took me a while to just realize that like counter jungling would be like my worst benefit as a maokai.
Yep.
So
You're
now I
not
do
really
it
that good.
less, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah. That's kind of what we talked about. By the way, can you see these notes? I'm not sure if they
Yeah,
show.
I can, yeah.
Okay. They don't show
Would
on
you
this.
share those after this?
Yep. I share them
Oh,
now.
perfect. Nice, nice, nice. Thank you.
Yep. Uh, yeah. So that's kind of we come back to the champion identity. What we want to do
Yeah,
on this champion. So when you play Maokai, what you want to do is you always want to like look for these ganks, and kind of like make uh set up plays with your CC. Obviously, Maokai also has a lot of damage for
yeah.
unknown reason. I don't like that, but yeah, obviously
I
Maokai has a
get
lot of
you.
damage as well. But like this is exactly what you want to do. You don't really want to 1v1 people, but we are kind of allowing this guy to roam with us, and then we can like kind of trap them and basically just like set up kills and set up damage for your team.
Mhm.
So your team is able to deal damage. So that's basically the main thing with these champions you play. Diana is a bit different. Diana is actually a pretty good duelist because again she runs Conqueror and
Doesn't feel like that anymore. Feels
mm,
like I'm either getting like picked or I just died the 1v1. I
Diana.
don't know why. Yeah.
Yep, I mean it's kind of especially if you're playing the tank build. It's not it's definitely not
I,
as
I
good as it was last season, for example, if you played a
yeah,
lot
I
last
get
season.
picked a lot as Diana right
Yeah,
now
yeah, but again, like
because
kind of
like
what
the
Diana,
lanes rotate randomly and stuff like that.
yeah.
So
So again, like kind of what Diana wants to do as well. It's you want to you want to facilitate your team. You want to
yeah,
enable your team.
play
So
for the level 6.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and just play for the level 6 again. Yeah, but obviously you want to always look out for action before level 6. But yeah, like
Yeah,
what I call
definitely.
this kind of class of champions is I call them enablers. So
Yeah,
that's something you can also add like Mundo.
engagers sort of.
Yep, yep. You just want to enable your team so they can actually deal damage and carry the game. Stuff like that. So you want to look out for ganks. I wouldn't really worry too much about invading, especially early game. But yeah, what I wanted to talk about was this ward here. Uh, so this ward, actually, this isn't a bad ward. Actually, I like this ward pretty much. But what people do is, again, um, this is actually something you can see a lot in pro play, for example. Like pro players do this all the time. They start like on the opposite side of the jungle, they end up on the opposite side of the jungle, and then what they do is they always go drop this ward. But where they drop it instead is they drop it on the krugs here. So that
Oh,
kind of
really?
yeah. So what that does is when the enemy jungler comes back for their second camps here, the krugs because they always take the krugs before raptors, stuff like that. So when you have a warded crux here, what it shows your team is kind of like if they move from the crux directly to gank your bot lane, or if they just start like moving towards raptors here.
What I usually do is word the one below, but right now I was lazy and I just to save some time I just didn't word
Oh, you
that
want this
one.
one?
I worded the one. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly on that
Yeah, yeah,
page. Yeah, over
yep.
there.
Yep, I like that board as well. This is something I use, especially when I'm when later on in the game I have a pink board. This is where I love to drop my
Oh
pink
yeah,
board. Yeah,
yeah. I always drop it.
yeah, it
That's how I
never
got.
gets spotted. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
I got some challenges like that.
yep. So, but yeah, basically this ward gives us a bit more options because this ward actually only covers if they go from Krugs to Raptors. But this covers kind of like the both of them. This covers the instant gank the bot side after Krugs, or if they actually go to Raptors. So the blue side equivalent of this is what the enemy jungler would want to do. Actually, not. Uh, but if we were on the opposite side, for example, we are patting top side, enemy bot side. What you want to drop, you
Would
want to
be
drop the ward here
all
instead.
right. Yeah.
So again, this gives you information on the first camp they hit after they come back from base.
Here or the one below, in
Yep.
between blue and
Yeah, blue and chrome. Exactly. Yeah.
no, in between blue and wolves.
You drop
That's
here.
another
Yep.
one I use. No, no,
Yep.
no. Over to the right.
Oh, here.
No, no, no. A bit
Here.
above the wolves. In between.
Oh, here.
Yeah, somewhere around there. A
Yep.
bit to the left.
Yep. But again,
I've
like,
heard that's another good word.
yeah, yep, it's a good word. But again, like, when you think about when you take the scuttle and then you can like move, if
Oh
there's
yeah,
no
yeah,
ganks,
yeah,
you can
yeah,
kind of like drop this really easy and just like start your recall,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna protect
yeah,
your
yeah.
lane so well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. So when you go drop this ward, it kind of takes you another 5 seconds to go drop it
Oh yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get you now. Yeah, I understand.
So end a full clear ward on Crump or on Crux.
Oh, and I think that my mid game's a disaster. That's when I usually die the most.
Mid ganks
No, mid game.
or mid game? Okay.
Mid game.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can look at mid game here.
Yeah, he does take the kill, and I think we get flash again.
Yep, really good. He actually has recalled.
No, he's really good. He's plat 3 right now, climbing back to diamond.
Oh, the Nocturne?
No, the Akali.
Oh, Kali, okay. Yep, so here we just go back to the camps. Yep, good stuff. Just go back to where we started from. So again, like, think about like if the enemy dropped their ward here, they would see you here exactly, and you really couldn't like look even to gank this, even though he's like pushing up, because the ward would give this laner a lot of information. So that's kind of the idea behind the ward.
I think he's already 3-0 by that time. So I
Yeah,
was looking and I was like, nope,
yeah, yeah.
not going there. And she keeps dying all the time. So yeah. And I
Oh,
would,
she's
I
not.
was, I
She's
was
one
thinking about
zero
dragon
one.
already. So
Okay. Yep. Yep. Okay. So that's another thing we can talk about
yeah,
in a bit. But what I like to look out for here, again, like we know the enemy jungler is on this side. They haven't recalled it. What they usually do if they end up on the side they started from again without recalling. So for example, what you did is really good. We recall and then we go for the second clear. This guy's usually going to recall. So we kind of have a free opportunity to gank here. And the good things to recognize about this gank, you obviously want to go for only like high percentage gank. Like that's the main idea of jungling. You want to go
yeah.
for the high percentage plays. So what makes this play kind of high percentage? High percentage gank.
Uh, so I shouldn't have gone. So without recalling, I shouldn't have gone to the second clear. You're saying?
No, no, no. Recall. Yeah. If you're all the way here, it makes no sense for you to run back here and just kind of like
Oh
start feeding
yeah,
camps.
no,
Yeah.
definitely.
So obviously want to spread your gold. We got Ionian
Yeah,
boots here, especially when we got two. We got an assist as well, so we have a bit of gold to spend there. So yeah, obviously really good that you recalled. Um, I can actually tap it down here. No point to stay on map with that recall, and your camps are on the opposite side of the map.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
again, like if we end up making a play after taking this scuttle at the end of the full clear or clear anyway. So yeah, just look to recall and spend your goal. So yeah, really good, really good. Happy to get into. Just like always recall when you want to head up back to the other side. Good recall. Again, good habit to recall before second clear. Obviously, I kind of like nuance that as well, but uh, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But yep. So why do you think I would like this gank here?
Because it's in their tower and
Yep, and
influence.
especially in a few
Yeah.
seconds here, we are done with the Krugs. These guys actually go to trade really heavy, and again, uh, he's like kind of like overextended here. So kind of like identifies about this gank. So you kind of like want to check these boxes before you decide. Okay, I want to gank that. So one box we can tick, for example, uh, first box, they're really close to your turret, close to your turret. Uh, they're like they're not low in health, but they are not full health either. So obviously the lower the health are, the higher the percentage, stuff like that. Um, they're half HP. And another thing we can look out for here is that okay, this guy actually has recall. But what usually happens is that people actually haven't recall at the time before you get your first recall. So that's another thing you can utilize when you go for this end of your full clear recall. It's just like, okay, usually you want to like kind of check tab, have my laners recalled, have the enemy laners recalled, because obviously this guy only has Doran shield, it's much easier for you guys to kill. So that's kind of the good things I would have liked about this gank decision is to well the main things he's all the way here. Like if you gank this and he wants to run away, he has to cover all this distance to get to the safety of his turret. So there's a lot of time for you to kind of like try to kill him. And again, you have Riven still. Riven deals a lot of damage, and you kind of facilitate the damage with your CC and setup. So that's what I would have liked about this game. But yep, about this dragon idea. Yep, so this is really important, especially when you're playing early game junglers. What they want to do is they want to start topside. So at the end of the second full clear, they can look for the Drake option. So yeah, that's something you want to consider, especially when playing these enabled junglers. You want to kind of like start with the Drake win condition. It's just kind of like start building up the Drakes. If you want to focus dragons as soon as possible, start topside. This allows you to look for Drake play at the end of your second clear. So yep, that's good. Yep. So again, another thing, yeah, this is what I was talking about when I kind of mentioned laner behavior. So when you see waves like this and the next wave is already here, what laners always want to do is they always want to push in the wave. Laners never leave their lane before they get to shove in the wave and crash the wave. So that's something you can also utilize. For example, if your laner dies here and you're like, oh my god, my laner is dead, nothing I can do. But you can actually look out for if they're like low HP,
Like
because
hold the wave.
yeah, you can hold the wave or you can even look to gank, because again, what they want to do is they
Yeah.
always want to push in the wave.
Yeah.
So you can utilize that. And you can also um, actually we're going to talk about it later when we come across the situation. But yep, obviously you want to kind of use these things both sides. So you want to deny the enemy jungler from getting the free gank, and you want to go for the free gank yourself. They almost never recall, even when low health, before the wave is crashed. Yeah, what I want to think about when, for example, your laner or the enemy laner gets solo killed, for example, you don't want to think about, okay, the enemy laner is dead, the play is over. The play is over when the laner is recalling or in safety to recall.
That's a good way of thinking. Never thought like that.
Yep. Solo kill. How do I put this in words? Solo kill plays are not over when the laner dies. They're over when the other laner is, let's say, the winning laner. The winning laner is recalling or in safety to recall. So again, that's something you can utilize. We're probably going to run into a situation like that where we could have looked for that. But yep. Okay. So basic stuff, we clear. Look for the Dragon. And yeah, obviously the Dragon, the early Dragon is something you kind of want to do with these kind of junglers as well, because when you're playing carry junglers, you more so want to like look for invades and like kill the enemy jungler, stuff like that. But when you're playing these enabling facilitator junglers, it's kind of the Drake idea is always like a good idea, you know. So again, we are kind of cutting off the set here. Yep. Okay, we end up dying. So again, like what we did before would have been really good here again, you know. We see the set is bot side. Again, what he will do, he will always come back to lane. So we could have actually uh, set up a trap with your Akali here and cut off the set from rotating back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
So
That's a good
it's
idea.
literally the same what
Yeah.
we did at the end of our first clear. We were like, okay, he's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
back here, and stuff like that. Recognize, set rotates back to mid lane. We can,
Yeah, that was pretty much out of the game. Garen carried them.
yep, you can cut him off with Akali. Akali and cut off his rotation, trap him. Also, another thing about this specific timer is around 6 minutes in the game. Your mid laner here is really close to hitting 6. Not so much. You kind of took a bit of XP, but this is like a important timer in the game, so I'm just gonna type it up. 6 minutes or solo laners hit level 6 around 6 minutes.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's kind of like a
Fair.
thumb rule. So that's something you can think about. For example, if this guy, for example, if your Akali here pushed in the next wave, she could actually be 6, and then we could kind of like look to cut this guy off before he even gets to get 6, you know, stuff like that. Or we could utilize that at level 6 to like look for the Drake or look for a roam or kind of like a 4-man gank on the bottom lane. So is level 6 at 6 minutes. Junglers hit level 6 around, like a good, really good level 6 timer for jungler is usually like 6 minutes, but that's kind of rare. So I usually say 7 to 8 minutes. So usually before the herald spawns. And bot laners, so this is really important when you're playing these ult-oriented junglers. Bot lane is actually hit level 6 at like 1 minute later. They hit level 6 at 8 to 9 minutes. So what you want to do, what you want to consider with these junglers who really like their level 6, for example, maokai here, amumu, Diana, whatever, you actually have a small window, like a few minute window usually in your games, when you can gank the bot lane before they even unlock their ultimate ability. So that's something you can also look out for. It's kind of like keep these timers in mind. Solo laners hit level 6 at 6 minutes. Junglers a bit behind, and bot laner even a bit more behind.
Okay, so that's kind of like a timer to abuse.
Yep, exactly. What to consider, you can look for fast ult play on bot before the bot even gets their 6. So obviously it's really much easier to gank CV and Yumi before they get level 6 with their ult, for example. So
Yep.
stuff like that to consider. Yep. We end up running into Nocturne there. Alright. See. Kalahek goes for the cheeky solo kill.
Yep. Think I go back to farming.
Yep, good stuff. There's really nothing to do. We are really low on HP. So another thing you could think of here is that uh, when you're this low, in the river, so it's like maybe you could just recall, even if you don't have uh, a really good gold here. So another thing you want to recall for. So like basically there are two reasons to recall. Use your gold to get more
Oh yeah.
power. Get power. And another thing is
Oh
recall
yeah, I
for
think I lost.
resource.
Yeah, I think I lost Drake because of this.
Yep.
If I think about it now.
Okay, let's see. We have really low HP. So obviously when you're this low HP and we don't really heal off gromp anymore, so that used to be a thing of the past. So you could just take gromp
Yeah.
and kind of like be
Yeah, I'm
high
aware.
HP, but yeah, that doesn't exist
Yeah.
anymore. So it's just like, for example, let's say something does happen here, but you're this low, you can't really impact the play anyway. So it's kind of like an insurance to. It's like
Oh,
a
yeah.
good idea to recall. We're low HP, can't really do much, even if something happens. Yep. Okay, so now we got kind of scout the river. And yeah, we just die really easily because we are low HP. So yep, you're kind of right. We probably lose the Drake off of that. But again, like the main thing to identify here is that we are so low in HP. Even if something happens, if you want to go for these ganks, like it's just not that likely to work, because again, like this goes back to why you want to gank lanes, they are low HP. So why you don't want to gank lanes, you are low HP, you know? Stuff like
Yep.
that.
That's good to
Also,
easy to
not really
remember.
important thing here to notice, look at the XP when we get this Wolf Camp. We are really fucking close to 6. Actually here.
Yeah.
So another thing, important thing. So for example, in early
But
game, you
I
want
should keep farming for the level up.
yeah. So
Yeah.
keep an eye out for XP. One camp of 6 is like again like a really good general rule. Just like always prioritize 6.
Mhm.
Getting level 6. Obviously, you not unlock an ability and stuff like that. For example, in early game, kind of like a similar thing to this is like you don't, as maokai, for example, you don't really want to gank level 2. You kind of want to get level 3, so you have all your abilities unlocked. So it's kind of
Yeah.
the same thing. We unlock an ability, and it's really good, especially when we apply maokai. Yep. But it's good to be punished for that because now we actually get to learn. Okay, why was that so bad? Hmm. Yeah, and again, we are not level 6. We don't probably want to even fight here on the bottom side. Again, like it's 8 minutes in the game. The bot lane standing hit level 6. CV already has 6 here, so again, kind of like hard to gank. Yep. So now we get for level 6. Good. And then we can look to do whatever we want. He actually takes a Drake. We see him moving towards topside.
He gets the Herald eventually as well because he has too much prio.
Mm.
Oh, I
Okay,
get the
so
kill here.
yep. So this is what I was talking about. Look at this guy. Just look what he does. He solo kills your laner. And what this Garen thinks, okay, the play is over. There's literally no one here. I killed everyone. So now I can just like freely push this wave. So this is exactly what I was talking about. The laners, they always fucking push in this wave. They always do this. So this is exactly what you want to do. Oh, I want to punish that. So yeah, this is really awesome. I like this. That's something we want to kind of like recognize intentionally as well. You know?
Yeah. And then I die because Nocturne. But he
Yep.
ults, so not much I could do.
Yep. So here, what we could actually talk about bit of the pathing here. So yep, we get this kill. So basically, what I don't want you to forget is what we saw after Nocturne got the strike. What we saw, he's walking towards topside. He's walking towards topside.
Oh,
He
okay.
has ult. So kind of like you probably don't want to enter river. Yeah. So another thing we can talk about is that every time you enter river, even in early game, late game, whatever, think of entering river as like an offensive play, like an aggressive play. You want to like kind of do something. So obviously, always when you enter river, it's kind of like in the middle of the map. It's much easier for the enemy team to like kind of find you here and kind of kill you.
Yeah.
So you always want to kind of like think about, okay, do I actually want to go there? Like, is it safe for me to go there? Aggressive move. So this is, for example, what a lot of people think about. For example, when thinking about the first grab, like, can I even contest this grab? Can I go to the can I go to the grab? Can I walk here in the river? Like, is my team able to help me? Whatever. So that's something you want to like stick throughout your games. Entering river, it's an aggressive move. So it says, can we enter river here? Is team able to help? Do I get caught out? Yep, we basically go for the aggressive play anyway. And again, what we talked about at the start of the game, we don't want to 1v1 this Nocturne because we lose. So also we kind of had a goldfish memory moment in the that we actually saw Nocturne walking towards topside. And also another rule there is that when junglers go for a gank, take an objective, they usually immediately start heading towards the other side of the map. Also, another really important thing here is that when this when Nocturne takes his Drake, you obviously get that huge information like, ooh, enemy jungler took the Drake. So what I like about this this kind of thing that we are looking towards the top lane is that what we want to do always when we have exact information on the enemy jungler, for example, when they take an objective, obviously that gives like the huge notification. So when we know exactly where the enemy jungler is, and for example in this situation we are on the opposite side of the map, what you want to look out for is like immediate action, like nearby where you are. So yeah, I really like that we are heading towards the gank and we are not hitting our camps because again, we already know that this guy's on the bot side. He has no business to be here. Like there is no chance he gets to be here before we go here and gank this guy.
Wait, who's that?
What?
Who's that? Who has no chance?
Noctu.
Nocturne?
Yeah, Noctu has no chance being here because we just knew he took the Drake and we see him on the
Oh,
vision.
oh,
So
okay, okay. He has nothing to do, so he's
yeah,
definitely gonna be on the top side. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
No, 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 no,
gotcha.
no, no, no. What I'm trying to get across here is that we see this, we know exactly what the enemy jungler is. He's here, on the Drake. Because there's no
Yeah.
way he took Drake from his blue buff.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
so we know exactly where he is. So what we want to look out for, okay, if he ganked this top, there's no way this guy can ever get there fast enough because he's on the opposite side of the map. So that's kind of the idea. So when you get this like kind of information, for example, you see him on the ward, you see them take an objective, whatever, like you just get visual confirmation of where the enemy jungler is. Then you kind of like have to think about, okay, I have like absolute freedom to do whatever I want, gank whoever I want on this top side of the map while they are on the bot side. So we know exactly where the enemy jungler is and we are opposite side of the map. So basically look for immediate action. Immediate action where the enemy jungler can't
On the
be
opposite
instantly.
side. Okay. Yeah, makes sense now.
Mm. For this, we die. Wait, did we use our ult there? No, we're gonna find out soon. Yep, Riven gets to check the herald for you. He's attacking it. Okay. So what are we thinking when we spawn here? What do you want to do now?
Herald, I think.
Yep. Okay.
I'm not sure what I'm doing anymore. What? Oh yeah, I went for the bow.
Yep, I mean it's fine. It's fine.
I went for the both because I thought I have no top prio. So my chances of doing anything on that side were slim.
Yep. Yep, that's a good thought process to have. And again, basically, what I would like to think about here as well is that It's 9 minutes into the game. We haven't really used that ult yet. Like we want to also look for the ult action, especially when we are playing
To be
stuff like
more
this.
proactive, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lilia, maokai, Diana, whatever. Like I just
Mhm.
want to make a play with my ult if there's one. For example, here they were like really shove in. So yep. Again, what we could have noticed based on the map, this goes all the way here. Then we're just kind of hitting our camps. They go like really close and start chasing each other. So again, this is really important. Okay, I want to look right now because if we drop this camp and we actually move there, we could have had a chance to make something happen. So again, like keep your eyes on the minimap at all times.
Okay, gotcha.
You don't need to look at the lanes at permanently, but like at least like know if something is happening. Like if people start chasing each other, like going really close to each other, fighting stuff like that. So, yep, there's something we can do there. Mm-hmm. You said that you kind of struggle with fighting and skirmishing. Is that it?
I yeah, sort of.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I mean
don't
there
feel
was
like my fighting is just as good, and I think that just affects me carrying the games as well. Because I can't, I'm not, most of the times, I'm not the carry per se that deals the damage and just does everything for the team,
yep.
if you know what I
Okay.
mean.
Yep.
That sort of stuff.
Yep.
Not sure
We
how
can.
to explain it very well.
Yeah, I understand. We can actually there was a few situations here where we could look at. Let me just check. So a bit more time here. So yep. Um. Yep. So for example, when we were finding the set, I'm trying to find it. When did we try to? Oh, it was right before here. So yeah. So how I want you to think about these early game skirmishes, early game ganks, whatever. Especially when
Mhm.
you play the champ which doesn't deal the damage. So again, when you find this set here and you W onto him, what I want you to think about is my Akali able to help me here?
Yeah.
Is this guy able to hit this guy? So that's like basically the main idea. Uh, you want to kind of like only hit targets your teammates can hit, especially when you're not playing the carry. Like you cannot kill this guy alone. So you always want to think about is my team able to help me here? Like is my team able to damage this guy who I'm damaging? So it's like kind of the basic rule, especially during the early game. Gonna type it pretty up here. And this is like, I'm actually not going to type especially during early game because if you were playing something like Assassins, then it's kind of like comes different because at the end of the game you have more damage and you can kind of like do stuff yourself. But on these kind of champions, uh, always think about can my team hit this guy who I'm hitting. So that's basically how you ensure that they are able to deal
Okay,
damage.
especially as tanks.
Yeah, yeah,
But what if I
especially as
were
tanks.
to fight with a bruiser? Then my question would be, can I kill this guy in time before someone else arrives? Or can he get away? That sort of stuff.
Mm, yeah, I mean,
Because I'm usually playing bruisers or tanks. That's why I'm asking about
okay,
these two.
it's still the same. It doesn't matter which champion you
Okay.
play.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
always just like, especially during the early game. Like for example, if you were playing assassin, then it kind of falls off the later on in the game we go because then we start building more damage
Yeah,
and we can
yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
100 to 0 people, like kind of one shot people. So again, for example, the next situation was here when we went for this bot play. Wait, when was it? It's around here now. Yeah, it's gonna be here. So again, we go for this play. Gotta go anywhere, we're just going. Like again, even if we get to this guy, he's full HP, Yumi is on him. Again, you want to think, is this guy who's actually here to deal damage for me? Is he able to help me at all? Like, is he able to deal damage here?
Hmm.
So yeah, so obviously nothing really happens because again, this guy is not able to help us at all. He's in Narnia. So that's something
Yeah,
you kind of like want to think about when fighting is like always just think about can my team hit this guy who I'm hitting? And this is
yeah.
like really important, especially in early game. And another thing you can consider, like it's kind of easier with ranged laners because they can obviously hit from farther away. But with melee champions as well, like for example, if you want to gank this Garen, you don't want to gank the Garen all the way here when your Riven is all the way here. So stuff like
Hmm.
that. Just always think about can my team actually help me? Can my team deal damage when I initiate, when I use my CC and stuff like that. Let's see. Let's just speed through a bit. You wanted to talk about a bit about mid game macro.
Yeah, I think I'm falling off in mid game most of the time, even though I come out neutral or ahead in the early.
Mhm. So is the issue like deciding what to do, what you want to do? stuff like that.
Yeah, either like just kind of want to make sure I make like the highest value plays
Hmm.
based on my kind of score.
Let's see.
Kind of trying to optimize. I don't necessarily feel 100% lost. I just wonder if I can do something better, because sometimes when I after those mid games, sometimes I either get out worse than I was,
Hmm.
and I can see that in my items as well, because like my first two items are I get them very fast, based on stats and stuff, but then my
Yep.
third is very slow, kind of like
Okay.
gold level, silver level slow.
Yep. I
So
mean,
it
yeah, I
definitely
wouldn't
means I'm
really
doing
worry
something
too
wrong.
much about those stat sites, like mobalytics, for example. I can look at my challenger
Okay, fair.
account and I look at like something like solo kills, for example. I'm like below iron. Like the
Yeah,
I don't
fair.
really understand how to work with like they're really not attack rate, especially when you're comparing against like
Mm,
obviously it's something you can look at, for example, to get an idea. Okay, maybe I'm not hitting turrets enough, for example, stuff like that. But like just don't kind of like
yeah.
focus too much on like comparing yourself to
No.
those websites. They're just
Okay, okay, I
not
get you, I
that
get
good.
you, I get you.
Yeah, basically the idea around mid game. I'm gonna explain some few general tips here. So mid game macro, you want to play around objectives. Always
Oh
play
yeah,
around
I do
objectives.
this.
What?
I do this.
Yep.
I try,
So
at
yep,
least.
yeah, yeah. So this is obviously really important because so why you always want to play around objectives is because during laning phase, for example, you take this Drake, it's not going to be a 5v5 fight. But when it goes like 16, 18 minutes, usually it's going to be a 5v5 fight because people obviously want to, they kind of like, they are not tied to their lane anymore, you know? So
Mhm.
that's kind of the idea behind laning phase. Laning phase, players are kind of tied to their waves, tied to their lanes. But this changes at around like the 50, 16, 40 minutes, whatever, when the turrets start falling and stuff like this happens. So obviously they have more freedom to kind of like move to the objectives. So that's why I call these like mid game objectives. They're team fight objectives because usually you find team fights around them.
Yep.
Drakes are skirmish fights or sneaky stuff. You 1v1 the Drake or whatever. That doesn't really happen later on in the game because obviously people are like, okay, this kind of like acts as an idea. So okay, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Okay, the Drake is coming up, so I guess I go to Drake, stuff like that. So uh, objectives become teamfight objectives. So that's something you want to think about. So what's important about this? Always have your ult up
Mhm.
for the fight. Like ideally, also another thing, you want to have spent your gold. You want to have zero gold in your pocket, ideally again. So let's actually see what's gonna go around here. For example, here Drake is spawning up. Yep. So recall. So again, okay, we lost the Drake instantly. So yeah, what's important to notice here is that what's actually end up happening here. I'm gonna turn on the objective timers. So 12 seconds to Drake. We are kind of all the way here. So again, like, can we really recall here without the enemy team being able to sneak this Drake, especially when we know this guy's already here? So ideally what you want to do, so for example in this situation, if you wanted to go for the Drake, you would have to just run down and kind of contest it without recalling. Like the general rule about mid game objectives, you want to recall 1 minute before it spawns. And this is especially important when we are playing something like Maokai, because you know what Maokai does is the saplings the fuck out of these brushes and stuff like that. So it makes it really hard for enemy team to even uh, try to kind of like check the area. So this is really important, especially when playing Maokai. Uh, you want to recall before the objective actually spawns, and you usually want to be around the area before the objects even spawn. So for example, 30 seconds to Drake, I kind of want to think about, okay, I want to set up this area. I want to set up my saplings. I want to deny some vision and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
Okay, so we lose the Drake, whatever. Then we go fighting. Okay, actually, let's look at this. So again, like, is anyone in your team able to help you? No. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't looked. I
Yeah,
looked after I
they're not
dropped
here.
in.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's another thing we can add to the late game, mid game stuff
Yeah.
as well. Is always be aware of where your teammates are. Aware of where your teammates are. This is really important when you kind of like You want to, for example, phase check the Drake area or whatever, and you're like all the way here, and your team's in base. So it's like makes no sense for you to go there. You're gonna die, and then it's gonna be like then it's gonna be really hard for your team to get the objective anyway. So yeah, again, like really important thing. I know like it's really common as well. All the way to like let's say Diamond 1 elo. It's like kind of like forget. Okay, where's my team actually? Like where the fuck are they actually? People kind of like forget about that. They don't really check it too much or pay too much attention to it. So that's obviously something you want to keep in mind. Okay, when I enter this river, and again we go back to the when you enter river, it's an aggressive choice. Is anyone able to help me if there's people here? Stuff like that. Let's go to the next objective. Also, this is another important stage in the game when people start getting lost, especially this part here, mid game. Mid game stuff. All the objectives are down. There's really nothing spawning. So what you want to do here is you want to avoid this aram because this is how you start losing games. For example, if enemy team is all the way here, they're like kind of like 5v5 here. So you know the aram memes like okay, aram
Yep.
ranked. So you want to avoid that. So how I think about or how you approach these situations is when your team or when the team start airing, when the teams start to aram, when no objectives are up. How I think about this is that like this is a prime time for me to hit my camps, stuff like that. So what I like to do is I hit my camps, for example. So how I think about it specifically, for example, here is if my team's airing here all the way and like they're getting killed and stuff like that, enemy team uses a lot of ult. I don't really care. The reason why I don't really care is because the objective is going to be up in 1 minute. So again, what I want to do is I want to have my ult up for the fight. If the enemy uses their ult and they don't really get anything for it, I think that's a victory. I think of that as a win. So I don't really care too much about these ARAMs before the objective is spawned. So when I start to look forward to the ARAM is when the objective is actually like 30 seconds from now, or like something like even if someone dies, when someone dies, they won't be able to make it to the objective. So when the team starts ARAM with no objectives up, uh, just kind of like what you want to do is you kind of like to danger ping, don't fight, wait for objective. So again, like Nocturne uses ult here, for example, and like they use all these ults. And what that does for you is that when this objective actually spawns, they have no ults for it, and you do. And again, really important ult on Diana, Lilia, whatever, Maokai, so something you want to think about. So don't be too stressed about your teammates dying when the objectives are down. Don't be too worried about your team dying. If they're dead, doesn't allow the enemy team to freely take objectives. So again, when I usually start worrying about my teammates dying, is around 30 to 50 seconds. If objective spawn is when you want to start worrying. Again, like 30 to 50 seconds before the objective spawns, and then we can look for a fight. Because again, even if you use our ult and we get some picks, that means that the enemy laner or person player whatever is out of the fight. So it doesn't matter that you use the ult. You don't have to have the ult when the objective spawns. But when you use your ult, you want to think of like, okay, does this actually achieve anything for my team? So obviously you want to use your ult when if you get a kill with your ult, then you can take the objective or something like that. And again, objective is up soon. We are playing Maokai. We want to start setting up the saplings. Objective up. 20 seconds. We want to be in the air, in the area to set up saplings, set up vision, whatever. So that comes down to objective control, and that's something Maokai is really fucking good at. But you need to be there. For example, let's see what happens here. You actually get a pick on the jungler, really good. So yep, again, this is really good pick. What we want to do? Oh, Herald 9 seconds. Just start moving towards the Herald. Let's take the Herald because again we got the kill. Especially on the jungler, like they have no they have no like kind of they have no business coming here to try to defend the Herald. We can just go for it, So we end up wasting a bit of time here in the mid lane. Again, we are not achieving anything, with us throwing the sapling, kind of like hovering around. We're not achieving anything. So what I want you to think about is, okay, we get a kill. What do I do with it? What do I do with it? Okay, the objective is up.
Yeah.
So basically, always have a plan. You want to always have a plan. Always have a plan. And so, for example, we could have a plan here when we pick this guy up. Okay, we killed the enemy jungler. Ooh, Herald is spawning up. We want to go for the Herald. So there's something like that. So for example, if we win a team fight, you always want to kind of know in advance what do I want to do when the enemy jungler enemy team is dead. I always have a plan when you get a pick. Nocturne died. Herald up in 10 seconds. Go take it. Yep, so here we actually end up wasting a lot of time here, kind of like chilling around and taking the objective. So what this does for us, this is like entire roaming around, is only now we are able to get here. And again, this guy already respawned. So this is what I talked about with the ult usage, for example, in the mid game. If you use the ult here and then we go on this crazy adventure, just kind of exploring the fog of war, we actually don't have ult when the Nocturne is already back here and able to defend us. So when you have this advantage, enemy teammate is dead or enemy player is dead, just always like push the advantage, do something, take the objective, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So again, like now we are actually in a 5v5 situation and our team isn't even here, so obviously this can go really fucking bad for us. Okay, we get it.
I think I did.
Yeah, but you can see how this is really bad, and this only happened because
Oh, yeah,
we
they
did this kind of
deleted me.
adventure here. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is what I mean about think about the objective. Always have a plan. Okay,
Yeah.
we killed the jungler. Yeah, really good. Got the objective right away. Another thing you want to do is you want to ping your team, like spamming. Oh, let's go. Objective.
Yeah.
Okay, so here again, we are playing maokai. Dragon up in 1 minute. Again, we want to go pressure this area. We want to go to the bot side, hit our camps, set up saplings, set up vision, whatever. So again, we are kind of on the opposite side of the map again. This is what we don't want to do, you know? Again, objective up really soon. We want to be on that side of the map. So just hover the objective, think about the objective.
I think my thinking was that objective taking was already over for me or for the team because we were pretty far behind.
Okay. So,
So yeah,
okay.
that's why I started giving them up because we were like we had waves to push, we had other stuff to worry about. So
Okay.
I didn't think like there's no reason for me to be at an
So what are we
objective.
doing
And
now then?
yeah, yeah,
Well,
I don't know. Some
this is giving up the objective.
yeah,
We just kind of shot ourselves in the leg by not setting up this in the first place. And if you want to give it up, so this is really
yeah.
important. If
No,
you
you're
want
right.
to give
Yeah,
it up, if you recognize
play
that okay,
accordingly.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you think that okay, you want to give it up, again, what you can think about, the enemy team is gonna be there. Like that's like
Yeah.
the 100% thing. So what you can do here, for
Yeah.
example, we have Herald here. Oh, we don't actually. I thought we had Herald for some reason.
We
But yeah, what I would.
do. We should have. I
Do we have
took it.
Herald?
Yeah, we
Oh yeah,
do.
we have Herald.
We do.
So yeah, just immediately go for the opposite side of the map play. So if you want
Yeah.
to give it up, it's like at least make up something for it.
Yeah.
So this comes again,
Yeah. No,
have a
I
plan.
was very tilted at that point in time
Okay,
already
okay,
because So I
okay.
wasn't really thinking. I was just autopiloting. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I think a couple of minutes later, I realized that I just didn't even use Herald, and yeah, that was stupid.
Want to fight?
Pretty
Do
much an
something.
excuse, to be honest, but yeah.
That's fine. Yep. So this is what I do all the time. For example, yeah. So this is really good that you think about. Okay, I don't want to fight here. Like we are behind. I don't really want to fight here. So what you can do, it's just like immediately. Okay, again, we have a plan. Enemy team is gonna be here because again, team fight objectives. They always want to be on the objective. So yeah, we have all the freedom again on this top side of the map. So yeah, I would look to break this turret with my Herald. Again, the enemy team is not able to contest us because we are trading the Herald
Yep.
or the Drake for these like top side objectives. But yeah, so what ends up happening? We actually go there anyway, and yeah, that's obviously really bad because then we end up going for it anyway, and we already like kind of gave it up. So yeah, that's another thing to consider here is that like
Yeah, I think a collie called me to Drake, and
yep.
yeah, I did end up badly for both of us.
Yep. So this is this is really like where we start to lose the game. For example, if we were here Herald in this, we would get this turret, we would get the tier 2 turret. They wouldn't really be there because they were taking the Drake and stuff like that. So
Yep. Yep.
that's something you can consider. But yeah, and also that comes back to why I don't like playing with the duo. Obviously, I can't anymore. Suha Hilo, but they can kind of mind control you in this stuff. They can like, okay, come Drake, and you were like thinking already, I don't want to do this Drake, I'm doing something else. And then you're like, come Drake. Okay, I'll start coming. And then it ends up really horrendously. So again, like when you remove that duo from the kind of like the calculation, then it becomes a lot easier for you to think of the game like objectively. But yeah, I think we just lose the game there. We don't go off the play anyway. We get nothing on the top side to
Yeah,
trade.
we surrendered, I think.
Yeah, and then we still lose
anyways.
the objective here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to fight, do something else. For example, in this situation, use Herald on top. Use Herald on top turrets. Yep. So always like when you have to give something up. So this is a general philosophy. When you have to give something up, you want something in return. So that's kind of the main idea. So how we could have gotten something in return, use the Herald, get these turrets here. We have bounties as well, like it's a lot of gold, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna send you this notes right now, and then I'm gonna upload this for to YouTube. I'm gonna link it to you. So what I want you to do is I want you to look over it again. So basically, how you can approach this because it's like a 1 hour long, like doom, 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 doom for fucking people, a lot of
Yeah.
fucking information. Nothing's gonna stick unless you actually look over the board again. And so what you can do is you can, for example, look through the half bit first, and then you're like, okay, you kind of think about it, maybe play a few games, and then you can like
Mhm.
come back later and watch the other half. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, just to make sure something actually sticks. But
Okay.
yeah, I think main things to focus on in your next games is to well, just kind of like be. What was I saying? What was I thinking? Be on time for the objective. So again, like we missed a lot of opportunities in that game because we were kind of like always late to the objective. This is especially important for our maokai. Be time of objectives. You want to be around the area 30 seconds before the objective spawns, having spent gold. Uh, can I bolt this? No, I can't. What else? What else? What else was there? Yep. And like regarding the team fight situation, like fighting situations in general, especially when you play these tank junglers, uh, think about who's able to help you deal damage to the target you are focusing on, who you are using your cooldowns on and CC on. So able to help you deal damage when you use your abilities and cooldowns. So yep, I'm gonna send you these notes, and yep, that's pretty much it. Thanks for bringing
Thanks
the
so much for
review,
the help.
and good luck with your journey. I hope you hit platinum.
Thanks, me too.
All right. Well, see you later then, and yep,
Thanks. Talk to you.
yep.
Bye.
Message 1 minute before it spawns. Game review. This really sucks that when I sent these notes, if the message is too long, you can't actually send it without nitro or some shit. Stop recording.